Authority in the workplace seems straightforward until you realize that 73% of employees report their biggest stress comes from unclear power structures. Today, we're diving into why authority isn't just about job titles. It's about the complex dance between formal power and personal influence.
That statistic really hits home. Just this morning, I watched a new manager struggling with whether she could send a sick employee home, even though it was clearly within her authority.
You know what's fascinating about authority? Ronald Heifetz defines it as conferred power to perform a service. But research shows that only 31% of managers feel fully confident exercising their formal authority in their first year.
So it's like being handed the keys to a Tesla, but not knowing how to use all its features?
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting. Studies show that formal authority typically accounts for only 40% of a leader's actual influence. The rest comes from what we call personal authority, which is shaped by personality, culture, and experience.
Hmm. That explains why some leaders with the same title can have such different impacts on their organizations.
Let me share something that illustrates this perfectly. In a recent study of tech startups, they found that companies with clearly defined authority structures were 2.5 times more likely to succeed than those with ambiguous leadership structures.
Well, that's fascinating, but what happens when formal authority isn't backed by resources? I've seen that scenario play out badly.
Oh man, you're touching on a huge issue. According to McKinsey, 65% of middle managers report having responsibility without adequate resources or decision-making power. It's like being given a pilot's license but no airplane.
That reminds me of a situation at my previous company where three different departments ended up planning competing events because nobody knew who had final authority.
You know what's wild? A recent Harvard Business Review study found that such authority overlaps cost organizations an average of 25% in lost productivity. But here's where personality types come into play. They tracked different leadership styles and found something fascinating.
What did they discover?
Well, extroverted leaders typically consult 4 times more people before making decisions compared to introverted leaders. But both styles can be equally effective when aligned with organizational culture. It's not about right or wrong, it's about fit.
That makes me think about how cultural backgrounds influence authority styles too.
Absolutely right. And the data backs this up. Cross-cultural studies show that perceptions of authority vary dramatically. In some cultures, 87% of employees expect direct confrontation with authority figures, while in others, that number drops to just 23%.
So, how do organizations navigate these complex dynamics successfully?
Well, the most successful companies implement what's called the 3 C's framework: clarity, capability, and context. They ensure authority is clearly defined, provide tools to exercise it, and consider cultural context. Organizations using this framework see a 40% reduction in authority-related conflicts.
That's really encouraging. It suggests these challenges can be systematically addressed.
Exactly. And here's another interesting finding. Companies that invest in authority training see a 56% improvement in decision-making efficiency. But, and this is crucial, only when they address both formal and personal authority aspects.
Well, that certainly puts our coffee shop manager's dilemma in perspective.
Indeed. And as we wrap up today's episode, remember this key insight. Effective authority isn't just about having power, it's about understanding how to use it. Research shows that leaders who understand this dual nature of authority are 3.2 times more likely to succeed in their roles.
And maybe helping those coffee shop managers make better decisions about sick employees.
Until next time, keep exploring these dynamics in your own workplace. Because understanding authority isn't just about knowing what you can do, it's about knowing how to do it well.